Back in 1982, a McDonald's in Fall River, Massachusetts added a railcar to its restaurant. Now the railcar is getting a new life as a working train car after over 4 decades. Built in the 1940s as a Pullman standard coach for the Santa Fe Railroad, it eventually saw service on Amtrak into the 1980s. It was then sold, transported by rail to Fall River, and trucked to McDonald's. The car was then modified and became a dining room for the restaurant. Despite its popularity as a local landmark, the car itself was closed off from the rest of the McDonald's in the early 2000s. After about a decade of being closed off, it was time for that McDonald's to get renovated. This pushed the car to be removed from the site in early 2018. With its local significance, the car couldn't just go to the scrapper, it needed to be preserved. Thankfully, just a couple towns over was the Newport and Narragansett Bay Railroad that operates in Portsmouth, Rhode Island. Known for running the Grand Bellevue dinner train and other excursion trains in Newport, the railroad could benefit from the addition of the railcar. Already operating similar equipment of the same vintage, the streamlined passenger car would fit right into the railroad's collection. McDonald's and the railroad worked out a deal, and the railcar was moved to Portsmouth, Rhode Island, and placed on live rail for the first time in close to 36 years. The move of the railcar was a big deal that involved multiple cranes, tractor trailers, and of course, much planning. First, the car was picked up and placed on a trailer. Then the wheels were placed on a separate truck and driven to Portsmouth ahead of the railcar. The trailer with the railcar soon followed. Upon arrival in Portsmouth, the wheels were placed on the tracks by the cranes. Next, the trailer with the passenger car rolled into position next to the crane. The car was then lifted off the truck and placed back on its wheels. After being placed back on the tracks, the car was rolled down the track and put into storage to wait until it was time to be restored. Fast forward to 2025, the railcar is now about to receive major work to bring it back into use on the Newport rail line. That is quite a few years to jump ahead just to start the work, you might think, but there were major components that were missing because they were removed when McDonald's installed the railcar. They need to be sourced from a similar railcar. The missing parts, including much of the railcar's brake rigging and draft gear, and the trucks that hold the wheel sets together were also modified. The amount of modification and component removal meant to restore the railcar, they needed another donor car. That took 7 years to find, and thankfully in 2025, a similar railcar with a similar story became available. This car was used as a dining room at Bernie's Diner in Chicopee, Massachusetts for many years, but that restaurant closed in 2022. This meant the railcar had to be removed or scrapped. Bernie's car wasn't fit to be restored to service because a hole was cut in the side, but it retained much of the original components, including the parts that the McDonald's car needed. A deal was made for preservation of that railcar at the Chester Railroad Museum in Chester, Mass., and that deal also allowed for the useful parts to be removed for the McDonald's car. Now, the railcar's restoration is back in motion. At the time of filming, the McDonald's car's trucks and wheel sets were removed to be swapped with the donor cars. To do the swap, the railcar needed to be placed on blocks, and this is how it looked in fall of 2025 while awaiting the necessary parts. These views show the railcar in Melville, which is in Portsmouth, Rhode Island, and is also the base of the Newport and Narragansett Bay Railroad's operations. Note the blue paint that was applied a few years back to match the dinner train's paint scheme. Plans call for the car to be restored to operation using the Chicopee car's parts once they arrive on property. The interior will then be set up as a table car for use on excursion and dining trains in Newport. For those who don't know, the Newport and Narragansett Bay Railroad recently replaced tracks that go to Newport Station after they were removed 4 years ago for a construction project. This car and other equipment will be used on trains running on those tracks hopefully next year. Currently, occasional Old Colony and Newport excursions are running in partnership with the NNB, with plans to run Christmas-themed trains in November and December. Other exciting excursions are being planned to run throughout the 2026 operating season. Stay tuned for future updates on the McDonald's car's restoration, as well as the restoration of the rail line in Newport, Rhode Island. Thanks for watching.